So this is an important video. When playing drum set triplets, and I know triplets are, you know, one knows what a triplet is, a grouping of three, no matter what, eighth note or whatever the heck it is, right? Broken into three giblets. In this case, we'll just go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a ba. Everyone knows. Okay? 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Is the language spoken here? Not 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. If you want to, you can think of it that way, but it's just that kind of stumbles, doesn't it? 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, you know what I mean? 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a. That flows better. So when people usually, here's a triplet. This is what I mean by a drum set played. Let's say we're just going to boil it down to the straight Bonham descending tom triplet with the bass drum in the third position. So in my case, I'm playing left, right foot over and over again. 1 and etc. That's very important. Let me just now think about what. So to get a nice, relatively quick triplet there, your hands aren't really doing much, relatively speaking. They're just going. Okay? And if you go back and forth with the left hand to the snare, it'll sound beefier. Okay? So my point is, for the love of gosh, when we're playing these triplets, because we have one, the foot position takes one of them, right? Usually what happens is once we get going, it's the bass drum is always in the position. 1 and the third note, okay? But when people, I will say as a quick aside, when people are first learning, it's helpful to maybe think about the bass drum in the 1 position. So like 1 and filled in with your hands in this particular thing, okay? So you'll be thinking like 1 and 2 and 3 and just to get the ball rolling. And remember here, I'm doing a left into right 2-note pattern with my hands. You, of course, can do it a right into left. I found that most right-handed people find it more comfortable and natural to do the right into left. But have maybe not the easiest time doing the left, right. See, what happens is Bonham was right-handed. As far as I know he was right-handed. But when he did those triplets hand-to-hand with the bass drum in that, he did a left-to-right thing. And what that happens is with a right-handed drummer on a kit with the toms this way, it'll usually just by the nature result in a downward more. You know what I mean? Whereas with the right hand, sometimes it's like, well, hang on, yeah, well, right hand. And I don't do it well. I mean, I can sit on one thing and kind of do it relatively. But I'm just much more comfortable with the left, right. But anyway, so what is important about this, what I'm saying about this, I should have gotten to this point faster, is the grouping of when the hands do the 2 and the triplet in the shuffle, in the swing, in the railroad tracks, whatever it is. Probably the best way to think about it. You must have heard the concerto. So see what my hands are doing there. I'm just going left, right every time to fill in the shuffle. Well, without the bass drum. And if I'm going to make the beat, if it's more comfortable just to think about the beat, just to keep it going, you go. With that left hand always being the with the right hand being, in this case, right-handed, on the alternating between the snare and the hi-hat. But in this case, the right hand is the primary, is the 1, the 2, the 3. 1, a 2, you know what I mean? So, a 1, a 2, 3. So, if you can think about it like, if you want to think about like a railroad, like an old like.
Or we're going down the racetrack.
Down the butt, whoa, 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 whoa. You know what I mean? And you can do little different levels of swing. Or, you know, like chill, wave. You know what I mean? But it's important then to remember that and to maintain that concept when you think about your hands just in general doing stuff. When you do the grouping of two. Okay, in this case it's a little slower. I'm using my right hand to lead. Oh, my right hand here is the and my left hand being the one. And if I do my left hand, is the into the right hand the one. Now, again, the reason why I'm saying this, it's very important because a lot of people who play triplets and stuff well right now are like, dude, I know what you're talking about. What are you talking? But what I'm saying is there's a lot of people, a lot of drummers, not everybody has the same skill level or thinks about it the same way, is when they start, they'll get triplets kind of slow. Okay, they'll be like... But what happens then is I think in their frustration or they just want to go faster. Next thing you know, their arms will slip into the straight duple. Like 1 and 2 and 3 and, or 1 E and, versus the 1 and 2 and 3 and, you know what I mean? Which requires less energy. Well, I mean, I find it to be, instead of going, I find it easier to go, because it's more of a downward slope into like one more movement that uses about 65% of the energy that otherwise the duple does when you go back and forth. Not sure on the figure accuracy, but you know what I mean though? So this is important. You're not going like Bonham engine, you're like, you know what I mean? You're going, or in a faster move, but that's not fast. Remember I said earlier in the video, I said that's not fast. Not that fast. I bet right now you could probably sit and do it. Wow, but then your hands, that's the speed they're doing when that bass drum kicks in and the triplet. That sounds pretty beefy. But see, my hands are just used to, and you can get used to it, just always being able to hit the little two. But in the left, right, 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 or right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right. You know what I mean? Do you remember the song? There was a song back in 1984. It was Wang Chung. Boy, I do love that. To Live and Die in L.A. But Wang Chung had.
They count on Christ when I and you and everyone we knew smoked some reefer and then had a good time.
Oh, the 80s world! Kick ass! I mean, it's true, but think about that. So what the drummer's doing there, and you see him stand there on the Simmons pads doing the video, miming to it. There's one or two of those. But I don't know, maybe he is playing it, maybe it's a machine, I don't know. But that's good, though. You practice, get used to that. If you get it off the toms, just put on the hat. I got today, so this is a swung left-right, shuffly thing. But again, and you might find that it's easier for your right into your left. Seriously. So if that's the case, see, I don't do the right into the left that well, but it'd be like, so if you did that, here's the left, hang on. How my right hand has been taking over the duties of smacking the snare of the backbeat. My left hand will now. Okay? because I'm going to be leading, because the left, because the left is now the primary, the 1, the 2, you know, right? Ah!
We go on Christ.
You know, but I just don't usually play it right to left. But here's the thing. You, I think, will. Most people, I think, statistically, if they are right-handed, will probably play it better that way. So just do this. You know what I mean? Go around with your right, left. Wait, so what would you do if you did your right, left? Or see, if you did the right, left, then see, Dude Sickle, it looks like Dude Sickle in the We Were Cool on Christ song, the Wang Chung. It looks like he's going left, right. Like the... I don't know, maybe he's not. Maybe he's going right, left. You know what I mean? I don't know. But you get the idea. So in Tripletville, just remember the value of the 2 notes in Swang's land. Either left to right or right to left. Because once you get your triplet going, once you get that bass drum worked in there, it's very nice. And again, even if you're what seems like going really fast, I'm just going. Okay, not, you know, it's swung, babe. I got to be careful about hitting this. I keep tapping it, which is not cool. So maybe what I'll do is put some Fuzzington-Wuzzington around it. Some of that squishy Fuzzington-Wuzzington. You know what I mean? The mic foam stuff. Anyway, I hope everybody's well. Please subscribe if you haven't. More videos coming on the way. Yeah! And gig tonight in the Brookfield, Chicagoland area, 8:30 at Joe's Saloon. Be there if you can. Also, too, we're playing a couple gigs in Riverside, Illinois next month. I don't know if you happen to live around here. Come on out. They're selling brats. We'll hang out and maul some brats and, you know, have a Pepsi or two and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But the band would, you know, and don't forget, Deaf Right Ear. There's only like 50 or 60 of these left. Deaf Right Ear, the album Wax. Brand new album. It's all over, you know, you can find it on Spotify and Apple Music and everything too. And also on the Bandcamp thing. But shoot me an email if you want to. Bonzoleum@gmail.com. And I personally will send you one cat. Well, if you want 2, that's cool too. But I send them. I package them myself and we send them out. I could even have the fellas sign them. What if in like 2 years suddenly one of our songs gets really huge and next year we're on frickin', you know, what's this show today? Jimmy Kimmel, I don't know. And we're like, and you're like, wow, I have one of a limited edition Deaf Right Ear. I mean, look at that. Mitch busted his arse for this art. And look at this logo. So thanks a lot. More videos on the way. Seriously, keep drumming. I'm telling you, more videos on the way. I got to keep the drumming alive. We got to just keep drumming. Until next time.